Hey, what's going on, everybody? What you're watching is a snippet from a longer stream that I now do every week on Amazon Live. So if you go into the link in the description below, you can follow me on Amazon Live so you know when I go live every week. So you can hang out with me and we talk about tech and tea. Now, tech and tea, obviously my podcast, and that's what I'm bringing to Amazon Live. But on this particular episode, I decided to bring back my segment called Top 5 Concerns. And as you can see from the title, these are my top 5 concerns when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 newly announced. So let me know what you think of these concerns, if you share them, or if you have some concerns of your own with Samsung's newest foldable. And with all that said, let's go ahead and jump in. These are my top 5 concerns when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. First of all, that's a really long name, but that's not one of my concerns. My first concern does have to do with durability. The IPX8 certification is really awesome, but that X there actually denotes that it is not dust resistant. It's not rated for it, at least. Now, all of the Z Flip and the Z Fold devices, like for example this Z Flip in my hand, they all use a brush system that is inside of the hinge. That way, every time you open up the device and you close the device, brushes are actually trying to move dust that might have gotten into the device away from any of the internals. The thing is, with that IPX8 certification, it is really nice to have a little bit of peace of mind when it comes to the water resistance. There's a sealant that has been applied to all of the internals on both of the new devices, which means that even if water gets on or in the device, then it should still be operational. It should be able to survive that little dip. It is still a folding smartphone, a very expensive one at that. And while they did show on the Samsung presentation a bunch of different examples of the Z Fold 3. Yes, those situations make perfect sense. If you do spill something on it, it's going to work. But I'm probably not going to be doing anything like bringing it to the pool. Definitely don't want it in like salt water, like at the beach, like Issa and I were talking about earlier. It can submerge for some time, but I don't think I want to keep it down there for too long. And like I said before, definitely not in anything other than fresh water. So let's just say I'm not going to have any hot fold summer anymore. That's a term I wanted to coin. Definitely wanted to say it on a video, and I just did. Now, the other thing that was really interesting about the Galaxy Z Fold 3 is that they introduced, kind of nonchalantly, the under-display camera. Or rather, they did, but there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare for it, whereas other companies, like, they have been making a very big deal about their under-display or in-display camera tech. The front-facing camera, the one we're talking about, is the one on the larger screen. The larger screen does have to be all screen all the time in order for this foldable to truly provide the great viewing and productivity experience that it was meant to have. I agree with that. I agree with it being all screen all the time. In doing so, they did introduce this under display camera so that pixels are over the camera module and you can barely see it. In some situations, as my peers have shown in their videos, you can kind of see a small area there that that just makes it clear to you there is something underneath that area. It is absolutely better than a notch, but it also means that you have this tiny little blemish that you can still see if you do try to look for it. So it's not all the way there, but it's almost halfway, maybe just a bit over halfway there. However, the compromise in the other direction is that the camera underneath that panel, underneath that little area of pixels, is also downgraded. It is now a 4 megapixel camera. That's not that big of a deal, especially if you don't really use that particular camera for your selfies and whatnot. I can't really think of anybody who would like unfold the device all the way and then use that front-facing camera or use that camera on the inner display. There are a couple of situations where that would make sense though, like using the flex mode. I already showed you with the Galaxy Z Flip here that if we go to the camera and we go to the flex mode by just folding it up halfway, well, this is what it looks like. And you can do this with the Z Fold as well, and it will be available in the Z Fold 3 as well. So this was one of those ways that you could get a pretty easy to shoot selfie by having a view of yourself and the phone itself provides a stand. That's still something you could do with the Z Fold, but now it's probably not something you would want to do, considering that the Z Fold 3 now has a 4 megapixel camera in that particular area. So it just feels like multiple compromises in multiple areas. So that's one of the reasons why it's a bit of a concern. And actually, I found a way to really characterize this. What Samsung has done with this newest device while still really cool that it's an under display camera so you get all screen all the time, what they've basically done is with the Z Fold 3, they have done what many computer manufacturers do to their laptops in providing a pretty below average webcam. The next concern that I have does have to do with the cameras, or really just like the creative tools that are available in the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. Don't get me wrong, the cameras of the Z Fold that I did use originally, they were fine. They were able to get done any of my everyday shooting or social media pictures, maybe a little bit of vlogging here and there. And the form factor really made those cameras incredibly fun, especially the fact that you could use the outer display as a viewfinder. You're going to open up the entire tablet form and turn it around, and then you're going to vlog like that. But at least finally with a smartphone, you have what basically amounts to a flip out screen like I have on my main camera here. So you basically have a flip out screen to use the rear cameras as your main cameras. That's really awesome. The problem that I have though, the concern that I have is that while that is still going to be something I will really enjoy using, the cameras themselves have not gotten much improvement on a technical level. They're still pretty much 12 megapixel sensors across the board. On a technical level, the high powered sensors and cameras are things that are saved for like the Galaxy S line, the Galaxy Note line, and anything that ends in the word Ultra. Does make sense to me, and I do agree that since these foldables, I should say, are very expensive, unfortunately, they may not be able, it's based upon the form factor and not necessarily based upon the specific cameras themselves. So there are ways that Samsung is trying to focus their lines, and in this case, it's about the fact that you can make either the phone bigger or make the phone smaller. I get that. So while there are enhancements across the board with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3, it's just that the cameras didn't get that same total amount of attention. It will still probably be a fun shooting experience, and you know I'm going to be vlogging with that phone. I will do a rear-world camera test, I will still put it through its paces, and I am still going to try to use that wide angle on the back as my vlogging camera, as I do with pretty much anything. And the same will go for the Z Flip. But for somebody like me that's like 4K and getting like good depth of field and making sure that I have like the best camera sensors in my pockets or in my hands or anything like that, unfortunately, that's just not the experience I would be getting on either of Samsung's new foldables. The other reason why I'm concerned about the creator tools with the Z Fold 3 is because the form factor might make it hard for me to use all the tools that I have to get vlogging done. You're going to keep that thing closed in order for you to put it in like a phone clamp on a tripod. You can't open it up and use the viewfinder, for example. When you open it up and you use the outer display as your viewfinder, that thing is way too big for literally any phone clamp that I have in my entire office. And I vlog with smartphones all the time. This form factor is just not going to work with any of that. So if I have things like a Switch Pod or Gorilla Pod or the Mantis Pod in my hands, I can't use the Z Fold 3 to its fullest potential despite some of the things it's able to provide that make content creation super fun. So that's honestly, if you had to ask me, that might be my biggest concern, is that I can't vlog with it using the tools that I use with literally any other phone. And I will be able to use those tools with the Z Flip because it has more or less the same form factor of a regular smartphone. I can use a clamp with this and be able to vlog with it pretty effectively like a regular smartphone. Not so with the Z Fold 3. Okay, here comes another one, and this particular one is gonna kind of hurt your wallet a little bit. These are expensive phones. They are less expensive than the previous versions. However, this is also at a time when Samsung has decided that in the box, you're not going to be getting certain accessories like a power brick, earbuds. It's debatable whether or not most users actually really needed the earbuds that are inside of phone boxes. Everyone has a different opinion on that. But of course, no power brick, especially if that power brick is meant to be fast charging, that does hurt a little bit, right? Well, one of the big features of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 is that it now has S Pen support. That's awesome. That's amazing. It's really great to have that because now the Z Fold 3 is even more of a productivity powerhouse. And we as tech creators have been making it very clear to Samsung that S Pen support just seems to fit right with the Z Fold form factor. Those S Pens will cost you extra money. The S Pen, the Fold Edition, the smaller version of the S Pen, itself costs $35. But if you need a case so that you have a place to put the S Pen Fold Edition, that case, along with the S Pen, that little bundle will be $70. Now, there is also a Pro version of the S Pen, which is cool. It's larger, easier to use, actually has a retractable tip and a couple of extra features that are available on the Pro version. But that S Pen Pro is $70 on its own. One of my concerns is that in order to get the absolute best out of the Z Fold 3, you still are being asked to buy into them. And I actually learned from one of my colleagues, if you guys all know Jaime Rivera, he's been testing out the Z Fold 3 already after the launch this morning, and he told me that old S Pens from previous Note devices actually don't work on the Z Fold 3 either. So if you have a Note 20 Ultra or a Note 10 and you're hoping to just use one of your old S Pens on the inner screen of the Z Fold 3, it will actually warn you that it does not want you to use that S Pen. Use the updated S Pen so that you don't scratch the screen. We come back to the whole durability thing. For one of the specs that you might be wondering, the S Pen support is not available on the outer screen, it's only on the inner screen, which kind of makes sense to me because if you are a true productivity nut, you will open that thing up, start signing documents or writing down notes or even doodling or anything like that. That is obviously going to be better on the bigger display. It's just that previous S Pens are not going to work. You have to buy the new ones. And that's just going to be more money after you spend so much to get the new foldable. The last concern I have is actually one that made me not buy the previous Z Fold 2 or the Z Fold before it. I might get the Z Fold 3. After testing it, I might decide that I want to buy one for myself because the design and the durability is improved, all of these things. It's getting refined. But the thing is, it may not happen because I think that my demands aren't meeting Samsung's supply. There are some of my peers and some of my tech enthusiast friends who just love the idea that they can have a tablet that folds into their pocket, they can have that big screen experience, but I don't find myself using it nearly as much. So it's really my needs, my minimalist tech lifestyle that just doesn't fit with the kind of user the Z Fold 3 happens to be appealing to. It's great that Samsung is able to make their foldables better every single year, more and more available, a little bit cheaper. Hopefully that will continue, that trend will continue, but it's still not enough to make me want to use it all the time. Now granted, I may not feel this way after actually using the Galaxy Z Fold 3 for my testing and for my reviews and for stuff like that. Maybe I will feel differently this time around, but then again, that's the reason why this is a concern, because we're going to see if they actually pan out once I use the phone. And that will do it for my top 5 concerns with the Galaxy Z Fold 3. I would love to know what all of you think about the new device. Let me know what your concerns might be. And of course, these are thoughts that I think we all need to have or end up having, especially for a device that costs upwards of $17.99. It might be cheaper than before, but it's still a pretty penny. It's still expensive, and this type of thought process helps us figure out exactly what we need out of our pieces of tech. That's why these are my top 5 concerns. Once again, let me know if you have the same concerns or any concerns that you might have with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 in the comments down below. And remember to head over to Amazon and follow my profile there so you know whenever I go live on Amazon Live. From there, though, you can look forward to more snippets of Tech and Tea from Amazon Live here on the YouTube channel. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. After that, drop some likes on this video and get into the comment sections like I mentioned before. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody.